Hey, good afternoon, everybody. We're going to go over our Forex trades for today, Wednesday, April 22nd. We had two trades. Both of them were about half our normal size. They were both closed out early yesterday evening. No trades this morning. We were looking for some scalp setups. We were close to one on a pair. I believe it was pound US dollar. But setup just wasn't quite there, and it would have worked out, but fact of the matter is we didn't take it. But we had one decent trade from yesterday, last evening. The other one is pretty much a push. We'll go over them in a second. First, just want to touch base on this morning's big news was the existing home sales came out 10 a.m. East Coast time. Amazingly, I don't know. You don't want to sound like a conspiracy theory or the government is doing anything weird, but things like when you read things like this doesn't add up. So far for the month of March, the economic data points that have been released, over 90% of them have missed forecasts to the downside. Okay, including, it was just not too long ago, was the building permits and housing starts, I believe it was, missed terribly. So now they announce existing home sales that beat forecast. And just from reading from one of the articles here, it says, after failing to comfortably beat expectations for the last 7 months, March existing home sales surged 6.1% to 5.19 million, the highest since September 2013. Despite collapsing macro data throughout the month of March, all blamed on bad weather, existing home sales jumped 6% and Midwest jumped over 10%. So something doesn't quite add up, right? As that says, despite collapsing macro data throughout the month of March because of bad weather, the government keeps blaming the bad weather. Apparently the bad weather doesn't happen when the government feels it needs to juice something. I mean, that's the way it seems. Existing home sales there's no way they jumped over 6%, over 10% in the Midwest when all other economic data points are terrible. Jobs, missed numbers, right? Housing starts, missed numbers. Housing permits, missed numbers. Mortgage application, missed numbers. GDP, terrible missed number for the first quarter. All of a sudden, and all this is being blamed on bad weather. All of a sudden, existing home sales, no, it must have been sunny. Whenever time everybody wanted to go look to buy a house and to go buy an existing house, not a new house, but an existing only, the sun came out. No rain, no snow, no wind. Nice sunny day. Doesn't make sense. Anyway, let's go over the two trades here before I go on more of a tangent. First one you're looking at here is Euro US dollar. We were short both of these, okay? Euro US dollar and this will be pound US dollar. Now, they're going to be somewhat correlated, right? We were short them at the same time, but we didn't put them on at the same time, if that makes any sense. So we were short Euro US dollar here, 1.07411. It looked like it maybe stalled out. Obviously we were wrong, and it ran all the way against us. And we were risking in the neighborhood of about 60 pips. Yeah, right in the neighborhood of 60 pips. So it went against us to about 40 pips, let's just call it 40 pips. And then started to come in. And as it was coming in, we got to a point where we were flat, we were up a couple pips, whatever. We decided to cover. So we covered it at 1.07374, picked up 3.7 pips, so just after size 1.8. Now, while we were short this one first, so while we were short that, we got another signal to short the pound US dollar, but way up here as it's popping. So as the Euro US dollar is popping, all this move up, and we're short into this move, we get another signal to short here. So that gave us some confidence that the first one, the Euro US dollar, would come down to close to being flat, maybe lose 6, 8, 10 pips, maybe make 6, 8, 10 pips, something like that. And if that was to happen, then that means this trade has to work out. And that's exactly what happened. Although when it came in, maybe we covered a little too early on the euro US dollar, because the euro US dollar we picked up only 3.7 pips, size adjusted 1.8. But we covered them both at the same time for the most part. So pound US dollar, we were short 1.49628. We covered 1.49289, picking up 33.9 pips, size adjusted 16.9. So you're looking at the profit. You're looking at a very, very small profit in euro US dollar. You're looking at a decent profit in pound US dollar. You got to take it. So we take them both off, and you can see after we took them off, they consolidated, broke down again. Same thing with euro US dollar, consolidated, broke down again, and then overnight they popped around 4 o'clock in the morning. There was news coming out from the UK interest rate decision, and that's what this big spike created from 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. Then they didn't raise rates, but then they had their announcements, and the thing took off, as did euro US dollar take off, and then eventually paused out. So point is, it was pretty decent. At least the pound US dollar was a very good trade. The euro US dollar, we were in a little bit too early. But if we weren't in this early, if we were in this late, we wouldn't have been putting on the pound. Like, we would only be putting one on at the same time, even though eventually we got in them at the same time. We were in the first one for probably an hour or so before we got into the second one. I hope that makes sense. Anyway, we're going to wrap it up. 2 trades. So those 2 trades were 37.6 pips, size adjusted 18.7 pips. So we'll take the 18.7 and we'll move on. If any signals come out, they'll be coming your way. If you're trading now, good luck and have a great rest of your day.